Beneath New York City, under millions of footsteps, there is a train that still runs. A train that derailed nearly a century ago and killed everyone on board. They say you can hear it, even today, screaming through the darkness of the Lincoln Tunnel. Back in 1932, an old passenger line was being dismantled to make room for the new Lincoln Tunnel construction. It was a massive undertaking, carving a new artery beneath the Hudson River. But one night, something went terribly wrong. Deep in the earth, workers heard a roar echoing through the tunnel, followed by the agonizing shriek of metal grinding on metal. And then, a train that should not have been running appeared out of the suffocating dark. It wasn't on their timetable. It wasn't on any schedule. And to this day, no one knows who was driving it. It flew off the tracks, slammed into the unfinished underground wall, and burst into flames, a horrific fiery tomb trapping everyone inside. Officially, the records state that 31 people died in the inferno, but unofficial reports, whispers from the men who were there, say the number was much, much higher. But the story gets stranger. When firefighters and recovery crews finally managed to pull the bodies from the wreckage, something deeply unsettling was reported in the newspapers. Some of the corpses were cold, not just cold, but frozen stiff, as if they had died hours, maybe even days, before the crash ever happened. One worker swore he saw ice crystals on their eyelashes, sparkling in the faint lantern light. Others said the bodies didn't smell of smoke or fire, but of river water, dank, cold, and briny. This bizarre detail led to the first chilling rumor. The train wasn't coming from a forgotten track. It was coming from the bottom of the river, during the tunnel's construction, which continued for years after the crash. Workers frequently reported impossible, terrifying phenomena. A full, blaring train whistle would echo through the empty tunnels at 3 a.m., when the only sounds should have been dripping water and their own nervous heartbeats. They heard footsteps on the tracks when they knew, for a fact, that they were completely alone down there. Gusts of freezing cold air would rush past them, so powerful it felt like a train had just sped by, yet there was nothing to see. And then there were the apparitions. Shadowy passengers standing on platforms that didn't exist, just staring into the void. One man, a veteran sandhog who had seen it all, quit on the spot after he saw a conductor in an old-fashioned uniform walk past him. With his head twisted completely backwards, he dropped his tools and never returned to the tunnels again. By 1935, the engineers and foremen started reporting something else. A light, a single headlamp, moving with impossible speed inside the sealed, unfinished sections of the tunnel. It was bright, focused, and fast. At first, they logically assumed it was a piece of equipment, a cart or a lamp left running by mistake. That explanation held, until multiple crews witnessed it pass straight through a solid concrete wall, continuing its journey into the bedrock, as if the wall wasn't even there. From that day forward, the workers gave it a name, the ghost train. As decades passed, the stories evolved. Locals and late-night travelers say the ghost train has a schedule of its own, appearing at 2:12 a.m. exactly. Drivers using the modern Lincoln Tunnel have reported a string of bizarre, frightening experiences. Their rear-view mirrors will begin to shake violently for no reason. A thick, impenetrable fog will fill the tunnel in a matter of seconds, then vanish just as quickly. They hear a loud, old-fashioned train horn blaring right behind them, even when a glance in the mirror shows no cars are there. Some report a blindingly bright light rushing toward them in their lane, only to disappear an instant before impact. One taxi driver swore he saw an entire passenger car, windows and all, pass right alongside him, but it was moving inside the solid tile wall of the tunnel. Some witnesses who get a closer look describe the pale, silent passengers inside the ghost train. In the 1950s, a tunnel maintenance worker named Samuel Briggs went missing during his shift. This isn't just a ghost story. It's a legend of a train that never reached its destination, a phantom engine forever trapped beneath the Hudson River. So turn down the lights, lock your doors, and get ready. We're about to board the ghost train of the Lincoln Tunnel. The official story is a tragic but straightforward one. The whispers started with the first responders, the investigators who ventured into the smoky, debris-filled darkness. They expected to find evidence of a fire, wreckage, the sad but logical aftermath of a disaster. But they found something else, something that didn't make any sense. When investigators placed highly sensitive microphones deep inside the tunnel, hoping to detect structural weaknesses or lingering hazards, they captured something that made their blood run cold. We drowned. How could they have drowned in a tunnel fire? This single, horrifying word opened the door to a theory so disturbing, it's become one of the most enduring urban legends of the East Coast. This is where the story takes a sharp turn into the abyss. The river theory. According to this persistent rumor, the train never caught fire in the tunnel. The theory suggests the train derailed on the approach, plunging off the tracks and into the river, entombing everyone inside in a watery grave. One family, shaken to their core, filed a police report after seeing a man in a conductor's uniform with a lantern standing on the narrow shoulder inside the tunnel. They slowed down, concerned, but as their headlights passed over him, he vanished instantly. There was nowhere he could have gone. As technology has advanced, so has the evidence. In recent years, the rise of dashcams in rideshare vehicles and personal cars has led to a flood of new disturbing reports from the Lincoln Tunnel. The driver later reported waking up parked on the shoulder, miles past the tunnel exit, with a throbbing headache and a nosebleed, having no memory of the last 20 minutes. But the most personal and horrifying rumor about the ghost train is the one that involves you directly. It doesn't happen to everyone. It's a targeted, deliberate selection, if you're the one it chooses. Just once, faint enough that you might dismiss it as the wind or the radio. The third time, you'll hear your name spoken directly behind your ear, as if someone is sitting in the back seat. The natural, terrifying impulse is to turn around. If you do, the story goes, you won't see the interior of your car. You'll be looking down the aisle of an old, decaying train car. And in that car, a single, empty seat will be waiting just for you. So, if you ever find yourself driving through the Lincoln Tunnel, late at night, maybe around 2 a.m. when the world is quiet and the shadows are long, take this warning seriously. Turn off your radio. Let the only sound be the hum of your own engine. Do not, under any circumstances, check your mirrors more than necessary. And never, ever stare directly at the tunnel walls for too long. If you see a strange light approaching from behind, getting brighter and faster than any car should, there's only one thing to do: drive. Because some trains, the ones filled with stories and sorrow, never stopped running. This is Tales of the Dark, where the shadows speak and the forgotten return. Thanks for joining us in the tunnel tonight. Subscribe before the next train arrives.